Do you know what Robert Lewandowski needs to do? I'll tell you. Play better.
So far this season, Robert Lewandowski looks terrible, and he looks absolutely nothing like the man we saw in the first 8 games of last season. He's nowhere near that man, and we're left questioning if he should even start at all. But what is going on? Why is this the case? Well, one of the biggest problems we see is his inability to hold up the ball and to link up play. He consistently tries to move out wide on the left because I don't think he has the strength anymore to handle the pressure of the center backs. However, that's not who he is. That's not what he's very good at, and you can see that very much so in the play of Barcelona right now. Speaking of today, going on right now is my first drop over at rolodesigns.com of my mid-century modern posters, like this one, and these two, as well as t-shirts and hoodies that are all inspired by a certain FC Barcelona icon. So check it out at roludesigns.com. Lewa was always elite at finding himself in the right position, creating small spaces from his defender so he could shoot, and scoring acrobatic goals from weird positions. Right now, he can't do any of that. He consistently seems too slow to create any sort of space away from his defender, but it's not just the eye test that shows this. I have the stats to back this up. The summer before, he broke Gerd Muller's record for the most goals scored in the Bundesliga. Yes, while he was 32 years old, he was clocked at 34.5 kilometers per hour. Right now, today, at our 35-year-old Robert Lewandowski cannot break 31 kilometers per hour. A 3.5 kilometer per hour loss is absolutely enough to hinder his ability to get away from his covering man and create space for himself. But that's not really new. He probably still struggled with that last season. But to me, to be honest, that doesn't feel like a good enough reason that he's not scoring acrobatic goals anymore, or basically just not finishing well at all anymore. In La Liga this season, Robert's expected goals is 11.9, and he has only scored 8 goals, making him the worst finisher in the entire league overall, while taking 56 shots and only putting 36% of them on target. Robert Lewandowski's fall from grace should truly be studied, because the fact that he went from such high of heights to such low of lows is incredible. And in fact, that's exactly what you and I are about to do. Study his fall from grace. Let's take a look at past Lewandowski to see what he was good at, why he probably isn't good at it anymore, and see if there's anything that this team can do to address these issues. While at Dortmund, Robert Lewandowski was just growing into that elite striker that we would all soon know. But you can see his elite finishing and his ability to get his foot on the ball in the weirdest positions possible even then. However, here he clearly has an ability to link up with his teammates that he just doesn't have at Barcelona today. Just watch this. We would be hard-pressed to see him operate in spaces like this successfully right now. Now, clearly, he hasn't always been a Lukaku or a Dzeko or a Zlatan Ibrahimovic who can hold off any defender very easily. All La Liga defenders right now seem to be able to push him around just like that one Bundesliga guy did in that clip right there. But the biggest difference from that exact play to today is that he was able to draw a foul on that play in a dangerous position for Dortmund. He seems incapable of doing that at Barcelona right now, and I don't understand. Every single time he goes down without ever getting a call. However, even at Bayern, we saw him get bullied off the ball relatively easily, like he just did right there. But while he was in Germany, he had a quickness and agility that he just does not have anymore. He was able to create separation in tight spaces for a split second that gave him the opportunity to shoot, and he often scored. But people probably wouldn't be focusing on this so much if he were finishing his chances. However, to be fair, he hasn't always been a very consistent finisher either. Over the past 6 seasons that FBref has been collecting expected goal data, Lewandowski has overperformed his expected goals 3 times and underperformed his expected goals 3 times. If I include this season, Lewandowski has scored a total of 192 goals on 190.2 expected goals in league play since 2017. He was a great striker and a great player, but just not consistently a great finisher. For Messi, over the exact same time period, he scored 148 goals on 120.5 expected goals, and Harry Kane scored 158 goals on a total of 129.3 expected goals. You get the point. Robert Lewandowski was never as consistent as the best finishers were. However, despite the inconsistency, there were things that Bayern offered Lewandowski to make him a better player that Barcelona just doesn't have. And this is a great example of it. Right here, we see Thomas Muller drag his center back away from and therefore take pressure off of Robert Lewandowski, opening up a space that he can eventually shoot from. But it's also time to say goodbye to all those incredibly bright colored posters that we had on our walls as kids and that our girlfriends would never let us have in our apartments now, because my drop icons at rolodesigns.com has finally come with mid-century modern designs that hopefully you won't be too embarrassed to put on your walls. That way you can show your support for not only FC Barcelona icons, but also me, and check out some of our t-shirts and hoodies and other accessories as well. So check these posters out and more at ROLUdesigns.com. That physical presence and attacking threat of another player, of Thomas Muller, creates space and therefore chances for Robert Lewandowski, and we can see that also when they get into the box. Even with the presence of an attacking midfielder like Gundogan or Pedri at times, or even Fermin Lopez, Lewa has struggled to have the same impact, and they haven't had the same presence as Thomas Muller or Goretzka or Perisic in the box. But it's funny because I think Xavi might have noticed this. In the plays with Bayern, we saw that Perisic tucked in on the left and combined with Lewandowski, and there was a bit of rotation there. And it seems like that's pretty much exactly what Ferran Torres and Joao Felix were doing a little bit while they played on the left wing. Lewandowski and whoever's playing on the left wing try to rotate around and create space for one another. However, the big difference that I see now is that Robert Lewandowski is now drifting even wider and kind of taking himself out of the play so he can link up more and maybe give a cross, but he doesn't have the ability to create that space that he needs to put in a good cross or put in a dangerous pass. He can't do that. He's not quick enough anymore, and so he's left out there basically useless. When those same combinations of play happened at Bayern, not only was he quicker, so he was more dangerous on the left, but I think he stayed more centrally to allow players that were better than him to do what they wanted to do out wide. With most of the time Lewa being the only attacking strong presence through the center, he gets bullied a lot by the center backs, and you can see it's clearly taking a toll on him, and he goes to ground so often, but he never draws a foul. And I don't think he's being soft. I think they're genuinely beating the crap out of him. I just don't think they're making calls, and they're not calling that at all. And I feel bad because he probably deserves a little bit more protection than he is actually getting right now. But how can they turn this around? Because clearly we have seen with that strike against Real Madrid that there is still an elite striker in there. He just needs some space to allow him to strike. We need whoever is going to play out on that left wing to play as basically a second striker or a center forward, and making hard runs in behind and around Lewandowski to open up space for him. And with the profiles of Gu and Roque both being very energetic and young players, they might be perfect for this role because they can constantly rotate around the guy and create a bit of nonsense movement that not only spreads out the center backs, but opens up some space for Lewa, because I think Lewa would do well to stay central and stop continuously drifting so wide pointlessly for no reason. When the center backs are constantly concerned about where Roque or Gu are going to be, I think this creates an opportunity for Lewandowski to be a little bit more lethal, not on the break, not being that main striker going to the front post, but being at the guy at the top of the box ready to poach deflections or cutbacks. On top of that, Lewa is already not good on the break. Pretty much any center back in La Liga has already proven to be faster and capable of covering him in any space. So why not create space from the center back before the break even starts? Let the younger runners be the 9 and push that back line away, and let Lewa play as like a lazy 10 that barely does any of the role of a 10. He just operates in the middle of the ground where he is uncomfortably deep for a center back to stand and maybe just too far away from the midfield. But Lewa needs to be a little bit more slick with his runs. Let the other guys push and pull the center backs. That includes Pedri or Fermin Lopez or whoever else is up front in the midfield. Let them move around the center backs to open up room for yourself. That's what Lewandowski needs. He needs room. He needs space. when given space and time, now he can still be good. He can still put a good right foot strike on the ball. But don't forget to check out my website, roludesigns.com, for some mid-century modern Barcelona posters that represent some of the iconic players in FC Barcelona history, as well as some slick t-shirts and hoodies as well. But thank you for watching, and why don't you jump on over this video about the harsh truth of Frankie de Jong. But thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.